everyone, it's Velo here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here, and welcome back to my Decades build series. Today we are moving on to the 1900s, and this is our first house of the century of the new decade, and the style we are going for today is Art Nouveau. It's French for new art, and I hope I'm pronouncing it even somewhat correctly. I think it's something like that, like I said it, but yeah, so Art Nouveau was a style that was very popular in Europe during the early 1900s, and it takes a lot of inspiration from nature, from natural and organic shapes, and it uses a lot of those flowy and organic shapes in the architecture and the decor, rather than being like geometric. And while I was searching for images to take inspiration for, I realized quite quickly that it would be impossible to create the kind of Art Nouveau house that first popped into my mind in The Sims 4 because of all those organic shapes they used in architecture. So often, like, even the outside of the house, like literally the stone of the house would be carved into these natural shapes like flowers or birds or animals. So obviously I can't do that in The Sims, at least not very well. So I decided to go for this image I found on Google that was actually an image of a dollhouse. So the exterior of this build is basing on that dollhouse it was called an Art Nouveau dollhouse, and it was like recognizable, but the shape itself was much more simpler than in any of the real life buildings I saw, and there was less decor, even though the decor that was there, like, I felt like I could do that. So there were these ornaments and these kind of fancy windows, and the roof was very interesting. So that's what I've done here. I tried to replicate the front of the dollhouse in this build, and then in the back I went a little bit, like, I did what I wanted. I didn't have pictures, and also I think the dollhouse was of course open from the backside, so I just made it work however I could fit all the rooms in. And yeah, it's definitely a little bit interesting. It's maybe not a thing you would immediately recognize from the outside, but as we go to the inside, I kinda tie everything in, or at least I try to. I found a lot of great CC to use specifically in this build. A lot of it was specifically inspired by Art Nouveau, and I use a lot of that, and I tried to make the interior like cluttered and a little bit eccentric and a little bit whimsical even. Some may not like it because of how cluttered and kind of messy even it might look, but I really like it, and I will insert pictures here of the dollhouse as well as some images of the interiors of Art Nouveau houses that I was inspired by. I just really like the style overall, and I really love this image for all the greenery and how busy the room was in a way. So yeah, that's what we are going to do. And yeah, so Art Nouveau was not just an architectural style, it was a total art style, which means that it was a style both in like painting and illustration and architecture and decor. And also often when an architect would design a house in this style, they would also design all of the interior, all of the like cutlery there was, all of the furniture, like everything down to very, very small pieces, not just the exterior, which is what I think at least separates Art Nouveau from from other styles, and which is very interesting. And like all of the items from this period and like that are in this style are very, very detailed and intricate, and just they're so organic and nice. And yeah, this is one of my favorite styles as well. This is a time period I really love, and yeah, if I could go back in time, I would probably go visit the Paris exposition in 1900. That's when and where kind of Art Nouveau was set to peak. It was becoming popular before, like still during the 1800s, but when there was this World Expo at Paris, it kind of like really became globally popular, and there was like, I think it was like 50 million people visited the Paris Expo, which is insane to me, and it's just so cool to think about. But anyway, that's where a lot of the artists that were the founding fathers or that would become like classic examples of Art Nouveau artists would exhibit their work. And yeah, after that it just went viral and stuff like that. But then again, like pretty soon, like it was said that by 1910 it was already kind of out of fashion, so it didn't have a long run, but it was a very visible style in, especially in Europe, and you can still find Art Nouveau style buildings in like everywhere you go in Europe. There are some in my city and in my country, and they are everywhere, even though they might be like slightly different styles. So in Germany, Art Nouveau is called Jugendstil, and it's not exactly the same and stuff like that, but they are considered kind of subcategories of Art Nouveau. So yeah, definitely a very fascinating style, and I really enjoyed building, even though it was also very difficult, especially because I really wanted it to be good, and I wanted the interior to look like it was all supposed to be there, and it was very like made with like an architect designed everything. Like they decided where each and every plant would go and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope I succeeded in that, and I hope you like this video and this build. I certainly do, even though it's a bit, like I said, it's a little bit weird, but that's kind of what I was going for, so I really like it. And yeah, now we are on to the interior, and you saw me do this flooring here. It's a little bit busy, but I basically just rotated every other tile in the flooring, and I do that all over the place. And here's the living room, and I had so much great CC to use. I had all these like oriental rugs I found, and this Art Nouveau set. At least the fireplace and the couches are from a set that was specifically meant to be Art Nouveau inspired, and I really like those items. And of course, they were by the same creator, so they went together. Some of the CC I use is a little bit on the alpha side, but I felt like it kind of suited this period and this style because, like I said, Art Nouveau furniture and decor was super detailed and intricate and just like organic shapes and stuff like that. So with Max's Match, it's a lot harder, at least, to kind of convey that kind of style, I guess. And yeah, then I just put a lot of flowers on this little front porch here, and yeah, I think it's pretty cute. Flowers were very visible in Art Nouveau style, as well as like other symbols and things from nature, like shells and stuff like that. So and what I realized was that there's actually quite a lot of things in The Sims 4, not CC, just Max's items, that do go well with Art Nouveau style, especially lamps. Like almost all the lamps were very suitable for this house, and I basically use a different lamp in every room because they just suited this build so perfectly. And I also had CC lamps, so yeah, that was a weird thing. I've never before had the feeling that I had too many options in lamps. But this time that was kind of a problem. Well, not a problem, but like it became clear that in this kind of a build there was plenty to choose from. And then I found this CC collection by Jules Simming, I think. and it was called Drifters, Wonders, and those paintings as well as some flowers, and a lot of clutter is from that little pack or little bunch of CC. There was kind of these witchy things like tarot cards and stuff like that, and I used some of those. They had some like bugs in these what are those called, terrariums or something. Anyway, they had a lot of great decor that I felt like went perfectly with this build, so I used those all over the place. For the kitchen, it's a very tiny kitchen, like most kitchens in this time period were, and I used the same kitchen CC set as I used in the first decade's build, the Queen Anne Victorian. I wasn't paying much attention to the kitchen, so I thought it would be fine. It wasn't the main focus of this house, obviously. I just made it like work and look kind of pretty, but yeah, I used the same cabinets. I definitely need more kitchens, but yeah, I think it works, and I think it's pretty accurate, and it's still cute, but it's definitely one of the smaller rooms in the whole house and not that detailed and stuff like that. But yeah, and here are some of the clutter pieces that I got. I just put up some clutter to make it look even kind of lived in, even though pretty soon I move on to other rooms and just leave the kitchen quite bare. Yeah, it's not, I wasn't paying that much attention to it, but I think it works out. Yeah, and I did end up changing some of those windows because of how the floor plan was here on the first floor, so that I could have a window in the kitchen and not have it be like humongous. And yeah, then next to it is of course the dining room. That's a very funky room, and I tried things that I haven't really done before or don't do that often. Like around the dining table, I didn't place the dining chairs where they actually go, like in the correct slots. I just kind of rotated them all around the place, and it's a little bit messy kinda, but I do really like it. I think it works out, and some of the chairs are in the slot, so your Sims can still sit by the table and eat, but apparently we're not there yet. So yeah, this is the living room. I took a break from it apparently, but I really like it in the end. It was hard to screenshot though because it's so busy and so full. I really like it in game, but it was very hard to screenshot this whole build because of how cluttered it is, and especially because it's in 3 floors. So the third floor especially was super hard to screenshot, and that's like overall the thing I like least about building. But I really did my best, and I tried to edit the screenshot to look little bit nicer this time. You will see them when we get to the end. Here at the back, I wanted to do this greenhouse, or this, I guess it's a sunroom because it's inside, so it's this little extension to the house that's this little sunroom, and I thought it was super cute. I made this little skylight above it, and then it's all green. Some materials like very much in use in Art Nouveau buildings were like glass and stained glass as well as raw iron. So I thought like most of the things like the window frames and the door frames would be raw iron, especially in the sunroom area, and I thought the green color was really good for that actually. And if you do look up like Art Nouveau greenhouse, well, you will get like humongous greenhouses, but they are all this like kind of green raw iron, and I think it's a very cute style. It looks very grand and very nice. And yeah, maybe there could be a lot more plants and stuff in the sunroom, but I cluttered everything so much that I decided to leave it like it is now. I think I might add like some candles or something later, but there are some plants and it's very green and very nice. I would imagine it would be so nice to like drink your tea there or stuff like that. And the staircase here, I was trying to add, well, I did add detail using some of those wall decors and this paneling and these pillars. I think it turns out fine, even though, of course, again, I couldn't really execute the kind of staircase I would have ideally wanted. It would have been a lot more complex and stuff like that, and it would have had this like kind of curving raw iron railing and stuff like that, because that was very, very common. Definitely a lot of the things in The Sims are a little bit too symmetrical for this kind of style, but I think I did fine. And here you can see some of the Art Nouveau paintings CC that I got. I found them and I had downloaded them before I could blink an eye. They are very, very nice. I can't right now remember who they are by, but they are linked in my Tumblr if you want to go take a look. And yeah, like I said, I use a lot of CC and I took risks with it as well. Like I downloaded some things that I wasn't quite sure were gonna work, but I think everything works. This time I didn't have any issues with any CC or anything wasn't glitching in the build mode. So yeah, I don't know what those glitches I've had before have been about, but everything in this build works, and everything that I downloaded, every CC item, I think is functional and does work and doesn't like do anything to your game, even though some of it was a little bit older and stuff like that. But yeah, I was very, very glad about it because there was some great stuff. And then I also downloaded these like separated frames for paintings and mirrors and stuff, and I used them just kind of on top of other things, like here in the entrance. For the entrance area, I wasn't sure what to do, and it's not my favorite room, but I think I really liked like combining Max's items with the CC items, and kind of like I didn't try to necessarily use as many Max's items as I could, but every time I saw an item that I thought would fit into this build, I like really tried to make it work. So I used some like jungle adventure things that have those very curvy raw iron things and decorations. Those were perfect and stuff like that. And here is the dining room. Again, I am mixing CC with Max's items, which I think is very nice. And the cabinet is from the Art Nouveau set, then those chairs are also from the Drifter's Wonder set and stuff like that. And I do this thing here with these rugs. I think it works fine. I think it looks okay even in live mode, but I didn't have the exact rug I wanted, so I kind of combined 3 rugs. But I think it ends up fine, and I think at this point I leave this room quite empty. Like there's this whole like bay window part that's completely empty, and I do come back later and I do add some things in it, but I don't think I recorded that, so it won't be completely empty. I put some plants and some seating, and I think I put a dog bowl in just in case, and just to kind of fill up the space as well. Here I am kind of turning these chairs, rotating all of them just a tiny bit to make it look a little bit more lived in and relaxed. But you know, that's exactly what I love about Art Nouveau style, is that how luxurious and yet still cluttered and lived in it looks at the same time. I was having a little bit of a problem there with all the snapping that was happening, but it ends up fine. And I think the vases, whatever, on the table in the middle there are by Peacemaker. I also downloaded more CC from them. Some of it was like this mid-century modern themed stuff, but actually ended up going really well with this build. So I used at least some mirrors from there and those vases and maybe something else too. I think I used the bed in the master bedroom from there as well. So yeah, I'm just kind of mixing everything, and yeah, here I go, and I just add in some little candles in this little sunroom, and there's a bonsai tree and stuff like that, and it would be so much fun to read a book here, sip your tea or something. And this house, I imagine it was kind of just for 2 people, even though it's a very big house, or maybe 3, you could fit in 3 people, but I thought it was for a couple that were scientists, or one of them was a scientist and one of them was maybe an artist or something. Anyway, there would be people that would love to collect things and would have collected a lot of things, like you can tell from all the clutter. And yeah, at this time and with Art Nouveau, something that was very popular and like fashionable was also like Orientalism and Japanism, and collecting like all these things from foreign countries, and just kind of being global. And especially many richer people would have like these insane collections of, like, I don't know, I put in like some Japanese paintings and some tiki masks that I found and stuff like that. So I imagine these people would collect all that kind of stuff from foreign countries and would be very interested about things like that. And yeah, so they have also like, this is the bedroom, and then the room next to it is a study, and then there's kind of this additional study in the 3rd floor. It's kind of this loft area, and there's also a bed there. So there's a lot of space to work in and to like do your research and stuff like that. So yeah, you could of course do anything you want in this build, but I thought it would maybe be a couple of scientists, and like I said, I put a bed in the 3rd floor, so I imagine like one of them would usually work very late, and I don't think they would have any problems in their marriage, but they would kind of just agree that if you're gonna work late, just please sleep upstairs or something like that. I do really like that room up there. I think it's very, very fun, and it has a lot of those oriental like collectibles and stuff like that. And it has an archaeology table and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, very suitable for a house like this and for this time period, I think. In this bedroom, I went for this red wall and a lot of prints. Like, it's a little bit overwhelming, like all the mixing of the prints is in this house and patterns, but I think it's okay. Like, I think everything still looks fine. The only problem wasn't, like, maybe I should have changed the bedding, but you know, I just went with it because it was very common to have like a million things going on and a million patterns going on. And yeah, then here is the bathroom. And I really wanted this like very oriental bathroom with these like kind of tiles that maybe would be like Arabic, and they would be very cool to have, even though they would probably not be real. But you know, someone would have designed this bathroom to kind of be a gateway into some foreign country or something like that. I'm just saying it was very, very popular at this time. During this time, to have things that were inspired by the Orient or were brought from there, and yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a very nice bathroom still. Or I don't know, still, of course it is. I mean, I love all these Oriental things, but I don't think it's tacky, maybe that's what I'm trying to say. I think it's pretty nice, and it's very expensive looking, I think, as is this whole house. I was kind of trying to go for the same feel, that it's expensive but cluttered, and I do really like it, even though it's a very small bathroom, but I think it works out fine, and it's definitely the way I kind of imagined. And again, they only have a bathtub, just to be like historically accurate. It's still not time for showers or anything like that. And there is another half bath in the third floor. I'm not sure like how realistic that would be. I think they would just have one bathroom, but for gameplay purposes I wanted them to have two bathrooms, or at least like a second half bath, so that playing in this house would be easier. And yeah, here I am just putting a little bit more clutter in the master bedroom, because you can never have too much in this kind of a build, and I just kept finding things that I wanted to add. Like I kept finding these lamps and these little seats. I think they are from Shino KCR or something like that. I found them on the Sims resource a couple of weeks ago when I was looking for CC for some of the previous builds, and they just make some really amazing things, even though it is on a little bit more alpha side, but I really love it. All the Art Nouveau furniture is from them, as well as many other pieces that I've gathered along the way. Here are the tiki masks that I mentioned, and I use this painting again. I really love this item, and this is the kind of more or less cluttered and more neat study. So I don't know, maybe this is for one of the people living here and then the other one works upstairs. I don't know, but I really like this room, and I think it's a very like professional looking space, if that makes any sense. But I feel like when you see that room, you instantly think that someone who is very good at what they do works here or something like that. And yeah, I gave them this nice Art Nouveau desk. There's also a fireplace in that room and bookcases, and then just all this decor that, like I said, would probably be like from some foreign countries. They would be collectibles, and you know, they would be proud of the things they've collected, I think. And that would kind of be a lifestyle for them, as it was for many richer people during this time. It was a very popular hobby to just collect everything from the Orient, as they said, or you know. Yeah, and then I use these curtains. They're not the best, like they are very 3D and they kind of don't attach to anything, but from afar they look very nice and I really like them. I was trying to like kind of attach them to a wall, like visually somehow, but I couldn't do it. I didn't have anything to go with them, so I just left it. If I'm not looking it too close, it doesn't bother me. It did bother me a little bit, but you know, I got over it. It was fine, and this build was already a little bit more alpha and a little bit different than what I usually do, so I thought it was fine. Then yeah, just adding all these kind of little things. So even though this is a very professional space, it's still very cluttered, and there's a lot of things going on, and all the things do still kind of go together. At least I hope so. I was trying to do the whole house, like I said, so that the architect really designed everything and really thought about where every littlest detail would go and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm a very perfectionist person when it comes to building, so yeah, I just go in and I can spend a minute rotating one plant. So yeah, that's maybe also why my videos are so long, but you know, I think it makes the end result a lot better. I feel like I've done my very best, and yeah, I hope it shows. Please let me know what you think. Here is the upstairs study area. Like I said, there's the archaeology table and stuff like that, and for the screenshot I pulled some artifact from the debug menu and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's a very whimsical and a little bit scary room even. Like there will be like a skeleton and skulls and bugs and stuff like that. Um, but I think it's very, very good for character that's very into their work and very passionate about what they do. Maybe someone else will find them a little bit crazy, but you know, they're just passionate. Other than that, completely jumping to another topic, but I feel like I've kind of said everything there is to say about this build. I started bullet journaling, and I'm not really an organized person, so I'm kind of surprised myself, and I'm not sure yet how long I will do it for. I hope I can like keep up and continue doing it. I just felt like purchasing a bullet journal and doing like Sims things in there mainly, or kind of basing it around the YouTube channel and the things I do here, rather than my real life, because my real life is not that interesting, and I always lose interest in calendars or journals that are about that and things that or about things that I should do. So I thought that would be more of a hobby bullet journal. So yeah, let me know if you have been bullet journaling as well. I know it's not that fresh of a trend anymore, but I thought about starting like a year ago too, because I was in Japan and there was so many like supplies for it. There was like everything you could ever hope for bullet journaling, and like everything for stationery like overall. But I never got around to it, and now I just kind of felt like doing it. So yeah, wish me luck. I hope I will stick to it and actually continue doing it for more than just a couple of weeks. But yeah, I hope to kind of get more organized with the YouTube thing and stuff like that, and just be more invested in this and kind of, how should I say it? Just kind of plan it better and kind of be more immersed in it myself. Because even though I really enjoy this, it's kind of, I do this when I have time, like when I absolutely have nothing else to do, or how should I say it? It's kind of hard to explain, but kind of I have real life and then I have my YouTube channel. So I can only work on my YouTube channel when I don't have anything to do in the real life, in quotation marks. But I would rather like it to be like a real hobby like anything else is. So I'm hoping to get like more organized. Maybe I will try like to have an upload schedule, even though I don't think it's necessary for me. I think just uploading whenever I want to works for me. But let me know if you would rather see me post on specific days or something like that. So yeah, we'll see. And maybe if I do continue the bullet journal for long enough and I'm like satisfied with it myself, I might like share some bits from it here as well, or on my Twitter maybe. But yeah, let me know if you are interested in that kind of things. And yeah, so here is still the lounge area, or this kind of landing in the second floor. There was this quite a big space in there, so I just had to fill it with seating and decoration. And then for the landscaping, I was quite unsure about what to do. I just started putting down some trees, and then I decided to do this quite elaborate and fancy kind of a, it's not really a maze, but it's like quite a fancy thing you will see very soon. There's this big fountain in the backyard, and then it's surrounded by these fences that are kind of this maze shape. So yeah, it's a very fancy garden in such a tiny lot, but I wasn't really sure about what to do. And when I googled like Art Nouveau gardens, they were all like huge gardens. So I really didn't have any inspiration pictures for a garden of this size because it's quite a small lot and I didn't have a space to do anything like super huge, and I'm not good at that kind of things either, so I kind of just decided to take what I saw in the pictures and make it smaller. So I know it's a little bit interesting and maybe weird like to have this very big thing like this just at the backyard. It's like almost the same size as the house. But that's what I did and it's done now, and I think it works out fine. The only thing is like it doesn't very well, like it doesn't go with the build that well. I think separately these things look good, but together they're a little bit weird. But yeah, anyway, just some seating at the back there and adding some of these, I think these are base game lamps, so they are just like outdoors lamps that are shaped like a flower, which was perfect for Art Nouveau. And then I just decided to add a little bit more details on the exterior of the house, so I used this bird wall decor and just some other things at the front here. So yeah, we are done with the build. Here are the screenshots, and like I said, it was a little bit hard screenshotting this, and I'm not too happy with them, but I tried my best and I tried to make them look a little bit nicer, and I do really like the build, and I don't think it's on the gallery yet. I will put it up when I upload this video as well, but it will be there under my username veloniada or under the hashtag velosims. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I will be posting a lot more content just like this, as well as gameplay videos and some other more casual speed builds and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all very soon again. Bye bye!